Hello, this is Malorian, and this will be a 3,000 point practice game of for Battle of the Beasts, and it's going to be my Orcs up against some Empire. So, in 2 weeks is going to be the tournament that I run every year, and in this one here you get 3,000 points, and there's two different type of things, well, okay, let's say three, that's fairly unique for this tournament. One, the way that you actually get points in the tournament is just off victory points. So, what that means is that, if you win a game, it's not like you get 10 points for a massacre and 8 points for a win and whatever the breakdown is. It's no, whatever victory points you scored in the game, that's what you get. And the real thing there is just to really encourage people to be more aggressive, and also at the end of the game, there's sometimes where people will just give up, but in this system you never want to give up because you can always go and try and score some more points even if you're going to lose. So that's kind of the idea there. The other thing that's kind of different about this is the way that you actually kind of play it for scenarios. So you're always rolling off to see what type of deployments you have, and then after you each put one objective in your deployment zone and in no man's land basically, and then you're going to be rolling 2d6 on this list of different scenarios that you yourself might be going for. So you might be trying to hold both of yours, capture one of theirs, try and reduce all their units to half, whatever it might be. You share that with your opponent, and what it really means at the end of the game is that if you got none of those objectives, because there's two for each one that you roll, then you just get straight victory points. If you get one, you get an extra 50%, and if you get two of them, then you double it. So of course, getting these objectives is fairly important. Finally, the last thing I do is just something to really give it some flavor, and that's that any lord can be put on a monster from any GW book. So that includes Storm of Magic as well, and it's really just something where it's not really overpowering, it's just something for fun. So anyway, me and my buddy here are going to be practicing out some lists for the tournament. Of course, I'm running it, so it's only if there's an odd number I'd be taking part, and then I couldn't even win, but hey, I got this here. We rolled it out, it's just regular deployment. My objectives is I need to get to one of his and then stay there in base to base with it to the following combat phase, and then I kind of rescue it, and at the end of the game I also have to be controlling one of mine. For him, he has to be controlling both of his own, so he's being more defensive and I have to be a little bit more pushing up. Either way, what I got from going from the bottom to the top is I have 25 shield orcs, then I have a board chariot, then I have some wolf riders I've already vanguarded up, then I have a big horde of black orcs, and then I have a level 4 night goblin great shaman that is on an abyssal terror, so that's kind of cool. Then I have 3 wolf chariots, and I actually used these unpainted ones on purpose because someone was asking about the conversion of the Tomb King chariots and the wolves and night goblins, so that's them there. Some more wolf chariots that have vanguarded up. A Mangler Squig. At the back there I have a Stone Lava and a Doom Diver. Then I have my Savage Orc Biggins, and in there is my regular Orc BSB that has a 2+ armor and great weapon. Great sword rather. Then on the other side I got my single troll. I have my war boss who's on a stone horn, and I just love this model. He has +3 attacks, he has a charm shield, and he also has the potion of strength, my favorite build on this cool model. I'll have better pictures of it coming up. And then on the other side of that, I got 25 more shield orcs, and I also got 10 Savage Orc Archers and 5 Savage Boar Boys with shields. On his side, from bottom to top, he's going to be having some Outriders, then he has a Hellblaster, a Steam Tank, then he has Calfrons on top of a Hell Pit Abomination, then he has Huss in a unit of Knights, Cannon with an Engineer, then he has a whole bunch of infantry on the other side. Basically, there's 10 crossbowmen in that building. There's going to be a big block of spearmen, a big block of swordsmen. There's going to be a detachment of archers, a detachment of halberdiers. In those blocks, there's going to be his BSB. There's a witch hunter, and also a level 2 for heavens. and then he has another cannon over there, and he has some pistoliers. And so really for this game here, we're just going to have some fun, see what happens, but really I felt that when we were going back and forth, I really got the counters I wanted. I'm going to be getting first turn here, but I mean I really want to get to his war machines and destroy them before they kill my characters, but either way, you know, my Black Orc should be a perfect counter to his Steam Tank and to his Carl Franz and Help It because of the Flaming Banner, but, you know, things can change quickly. And here's a picture of this side of the board. You can see that, yeah, he has a whole bunch of troops there, but, you know, between my infantry here and my big monsters, you know, it's should be okay, I think. The other thing to take a note here is that this building here on the far left, this manor, is actually going to be the haunted one. So it's actually going to be hurting all my guys around it, and that's going to take effect, just to let you know. The only other magical thing we had is a graveyard on the far right is actually that charnel pit, and, you know, the -1 leadership, but that's not actually going to come into effect. And here's just kind of a close-up of his big guy here, Carl Franz, in a hell pit. And, you know, it's one of those things where, especially tactically, it's probably better to have him on a horse, keep him safe, make sure that you're not going to be facing any cannons and all this stuff. But really, you know, just have fun with it. And you don't need to go and, like, for me, I have a permanent conversion that I'm always going to use for this tournament once a year type thing, right? But for him, he just took it off his dragon or Deathclaw or whatever and just had it kind of resting on top of this model, and that's really all you need. You know, maybe it's even something where it just stands on the base with it. As long as you can see it, you can have some fun. And one of the things that also were kind of, just for those who are wondering where this idea came from, is that, you know, editions ago, this is kind of way going in the past, there used to be a simple option that all your characters would have a list of monsters you could be ridden on, and it wasn't that you had all these specific ones that you could only take these few ones in this army. You had the big list. You know, if you want to put your guy in a dragon, here's the points for it. And like I said, tactically, it just means that cannon's hitting both a monster and your lord, so I mean it's more for if you want to have fun. Alright, so Orcs get first turn, and I don't really have any animosity issues on this side. Really just moving on up. Some ghosts go and eat an orc, but no big deal there. And otherwise, yeah, I'm just looking to try and be careful with his detachments. Don't want to get counterflanked, and really just want to kind of deliver my savages to them to really start eating them up. Luckily, when I went to these woods in the center, they turned out to be a regular forest, so that's no big deal. On this other side, it was some more things, kind of crazy things happened. My Mangler, okay, first of all, I used to have some wolves there, and I wanted to charge them into the cannon. Now, this was my one failed animosity, and I had the charger do nothing. And I thought, oh, that's great, I want to charge anyway. Except that I vanguarded, so I actually couldn't charge even if I wanted to. So they were stuck there, they're going to block the whole line. What I did is, because that also the way the things were, is it kind of blocked my Mangler. You know, I usually don't play with a Mangler, so I wasn't used to it. So really I had to send it up through my own wolves, killed them, and now I'm just kind of sitting around there. But otherwise, you can see my other wolves went up to deal with the Hellblaster, or, you know, force them to shoot me. And with my magic, it was pretty ineffective. My Vindictive Glare killed 2 crossbowmen, and that's pretty much it. Empire turn 1, and here's the start of his bad luck. I'd actually hit the steam tank with my rock lava, but only did 1 wound to it, and now on his turn he already misfired, and he's going to do some wounds to himself, which is just going to help me out. And this is going to end up to hurt him twice, because first he misfired, took 3 wounds or whatever it was, got some steam points from it, and then when he tried firing his cannon, misfired again, and lost even more wounds. Alright, otherwise for his turn, you can see here that his cannon went to try and shoot at my general. I charm shielded there, but it did hit the Stonehorn, and then after it reduced it by half, did 2 wounds to it. His infantry are kind of cautiously moving up, and of course I got really worried about that flanking of theirs. And on this side, the big news is that he tried shooting everything into the Mangler and kind of failed. Carl Franz and the Hell Pit, they're really not scared, and they just ran right into that graveyard in front of my Black Orcs. He did a flamer to my Wolf Riders there, killed 2, but luckily I passed panic. And then a whole bunch of shooting into my Orcs, killed 8, and, you know, they're going to run away for a little while, and they'll rally later, but they're pretty much out of the game. So my turn too, and this is going to be pretty much a perfect situation here. I got my Black Orcs going into them, and I mean, between all my combat res and all my Strength 7 flaming weapons, this hell pit will not be lasting long. Alright, so on this side, okay, so a couple of crazy things. First of all, I had some animosity problems. So my savages fought with my shield orcs, lost a whole bunch of my savages there. Then the ghost went and ate even more, so I only have 5 of them already. Declared some charges here. I had both my troll and my boar boys go into the detachment in order to hold them up so they couldn't countercharge. The savages failed, the boar boys, but the troll got in there, managed to tie combat. Then my big beastie went to go and charge into his unit, but only rolled like double ones or whatever, so failed that anyway, so that kind of sucked. But whatever, no big deal, because my savages went and pushed up, and they're ready to fight. On this side over here, my mangler goes farther up to the knights. I try casting some magic and eat a bad mushroom, and it just ends my magic phase, really. Yeah, the fight with Karl Franz, it was kind of a joke. He actually killed a whole bunch. Well, okay, he killed 5 of my guys, and then in return, I just completely killed the A-bomb. Franz broke, I overran, and I'm now into his steam tank there, so that's again just fantastic the way this flank is going. As I said, my orcs are still running, but they're going to rally. I had my wolves go into his hellblaster, and so it's going to be doomed. And then my chariot went into his outriders. He did 2 wounds to me, but overall I beat him and I ran him down. Empire turn 2, and I mean, like, he is just killing himself here. He tries doing some stuff with the steam tank. It takes a misfire, and so it loses some wounds, and it doesn't explode or anything, it just kind of dies. So all of a sudden the steam tank is gone. He decides he might as well charge with his knights, goes into the mangler, loses 6 of his own knights, then fails his panic test, and his knights are running. So his entire right flank is just gone now. And on this side, he was able to charge in his 1 block into me. You know, I should be able to fight him and all that fun stuff, but the big thing here is just, I just love this model. It's the best picture I'm going to have of him in this whole game, but, you know, even though I only get to use him in 1 tournament the whole year, I love it. The look of this, the Stonehorn always seems like an orky type of monster that they would ride, and yeah, assuming he doesn't break me with combat res, I mean, I have a lot of attacks, I should be okay, but we'll have to see. Alright, so otherwise you can see it looks like this. The ghosts are still killing me where they killed even more of my savages. In the combat, it turned out that his guy had the whole thing where we switched stats. This is talking about his witch hunter. So in the end, he did 1 wound to me. I did only 1 to him. Eventually in the end, with the thunderstomps, I killed his witch hunter. And, you know, with all that static combat res, I should have actually thought of that beforehand. But, yeah, he beat me, broke me, but luckily I got away. And that's pretty much it for over here. His cannon wanted to shoot, but it misfired this turn. And otherwise, on this side, his level 2 is now in the building with those crossbowmen. He grape-shotted my, what do you call it, my chariots and killed all but 1, but luckily they passed their leadership test. And then also he went and did a whole bunch of shooting into my level 4 on there. And I mean, I have no armor on either the beast or him. And so now my level 4 is dead, and the monster, the Abyssal Terror, is just down to 1 wound. Orc turn 3, unfortunately my war boss decided to run away, and so he's off the board. I was able to flank his big unit there, though, with my shield orcs. I beat him, broke him, and ran him down, so there's a bunch of points. My boar boys failed to charge into his cannon, but I was then able to destroy it with a stone thrower, so no big deal. And then my savages went and they charged in, and they killed the little archer detachment, ran into the spears. My chariot went into the cannon. My Black Orcs had charged the knights, sent them off, and then redirected into the cannon. So all this stuff here is dead. And yeah, just a quick check confirms that this is the last picture, because at this point, even though my opponent wouldn't have been happy to keep on going, my family showed up and I had to cut it short, and this was kind of perfect timing, because really at this point, it was pretty much over. So victory to the Orcs, and it was fairly one-sided. Of course, I mean, it was just he had horrible dice. I had some fairly good dice rolls at times. So I mean, normally if dice would have been average, it wouldn't have been like this. But in the end, it also came down to me having some of the right matchups for what I needed. I mean, those Black Orcs, that was the spot they needed to be in. If they would have been reversed with the Savages, it would not have gone well for me. So, winning the deployment phase really helped me in that. The other part here, too, to touch on is just the fact that this kind of really showed how these monsters, the characters, the lords on the monsters, is not really that good of a thing. I mean, usually my level 4 Night Goblin Shaman would be completely safe in a bunker, and here he was out there to be shot and killed by simple crossbows and arrows. The other thing is just the fact where you can lose just by standard combat resolution, right? These monsters normally might be able to be okay to stomp and all that stuff, but the thing is that with a character on it, they can be pulled into a challenge and then just beaten by combat static res. So yeah, static combat res. So I mean, that's something you really have to keep in mind there. So it's really just something where it looks cool in Battlefield, lots of fun. Finally, the thing to be talking about here is we did end it early, and really, if this was a tournament, this is probably where it'd end, right? Where they say like, oh, okay, well, this is just going to be a massacre, let's end it here. But the thing is that you would keep on going because, hey, who knows? Even though everything is looking horrible everywhere, his crossbowman could have still shot my Abyssal Terror, get some points there. His Halberdier detachment, after they killed the troll, could have charged my Boar Boys, get some points there. And even though overall that wouldn't have changed the result, the real thing is that in this type of game where your victory points is your overall points, you want to get as many as possible. So anyway, there you have it. Hope you liked it and hope you liked the idea for the tournament. So thanks for watching. Bye.